This might be one of the most healing and transformational trainings you watch this year. And I'm so excited to go into this training with you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking about how your 7-year-old self is sabotaging your success and happiness today. Let's dive in. All right, guys, pulling up the whiteboard here. How your 7-year-old self is sabotaging your success. Now, if you guys like this training, if you do get some value, make sure you do like and subscribe for some more. So, number one, starting out here first is before we dive into all of this that we're going to unpack here today, because we're going to unpack a lot, the first thing I want to go over is understanding how the child mind works first and foremost. Why are we the way we are? Have you ever just questioned yourself before of like, why do I do the things that I do? Why do I have these beliefs around people, money, life, health that I do? Why do I see the world through this lens? You ever just kind of ask those questions like, why am I the way I am? Or who even am I? If I stripped away all these lenses and these ideas and these labels, what am I left with? These are questions that I am obsessed about. And it's crazy how when we're a little child, I want you to think of it like this. Most of us, and as I grow older as well, I realize this more and more and more, is that most of us are still that little child. We're still that little child inside in this adult body experiencing this world and trying to figure things out. But here's the thing is that how our brains work, how our brains are designed is that at a very, very young age, as soon as you come into this world, you're immediately just figuring things out, right? What is good and bad? What can I do? What can I not do? What's acceptable? Basically, how do I survive in this world? Right. This is my tribe. This is my society. This is my the things happening around me. How do I fit into this where I can survive? That's what the brain is first learning and figuring out. So this is what we have our mirroring neurons. Mirroring neurons is you want to think of your mind as a young age, like you now watching this, if you're over the age of 7 to 12 years old, you now watching this, you have a great sense of yourself, right? You have a strong idea of who you are, how to function, etc. As a young child, you have mirroring neurons. So think of your mind as if it's wide open here and it's like a sponge. You're just absorbing all this information. You're absorbing everything, all these experiences, these things happening in your life, and you're absorbing it all to eventually create some sort of sense of self on how you should show up and act in this world. So that's the first thing to understand is that at a young age, and this is why children's minds are so precious and we need to be so careful with what we actually are teaching and programming inside of our children because that literally shapes your future. And for a lot of people, that shapes the entire rest of your life because we're not taught this stuff on how to heal, how to transform and be the creatives of our lives, which what we're doing here today. So that's the first thing to understand is that as a young child, you have mirror neurons. You're just a open sponge absorbing the entire world, figuring it all out, how to survive and live in this world. And think of it like you're almost in a hypnotic state. You're easily susceptible. People can easily program things in your mind. Santa, for example, right? We all know what it's like to figure out what it was like to figure out that Santa maybe not real. I hope no children are watching this. And it's like a shocking moment, right? It's a world shattering moment of like, wait, what? Like my entire life, I thought Santa was real. And now you're telling me that like it's a mind shattering point. So think of it like they're in a hypnotic state. They're easily susceptible. Now, also remember is that it all goes down to the idea of survival, right? It's beautiful. Like kids are so they have such magical imaginations. And here's what I want you guys to think of as well. And as I do these trainings, I want you to come in with this mindset too, is I always approach this stuff when I look at the human, when I look at a client, when I look at someone I'm helping. I look at you in two ways. I look at you, number one, is your animal, your lizard brain, your animal self, the one that wants survival, safety, security, the one that wants the basics just to survive and that's so scared in this world. Then I look at the other part of you, and that's your soul, the abundant, the one that loves the unknown, the one that loves the mystery, one that loves expansion, experience, growth. It wants to get out there, wants to free itself from these chains that the logical mind, the animal brain has kind of created growing up. Okay, so that's how I want you to think in this way as well as we go through this. So, as a young child mind, you'll see how they're kind of had that soul state, right? You're just imagining beautiful things, you're creating, you have these special ways of being, you're so just magical, right? And then as we grow up and as we grow up and as we grow up, we build this sense of self, and that magic kind of starts to go away for a lot of us. Right. And then this is where the talk comes in of you gotta be realistic. Like I remember in school, I was always doing what I want to do and creating what I want to do and whatnot. And so many people over and over and try to drill in my mind, you gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic. You can't do these things. And here's a massive lesson, guys, before we even dive into the next slide, is understand this is that when people give you advice and share things with you, usually it's coming from a projection of themselves, of what they believe that they can do for themselves. That's it. So that's why you should never take things personal. You got to know who you are. When someone tells you that you can't do something, it's not about you. It's about themselves. They're reflecting back of what they believe about themselves. It literally has nothing to do with you. So that's understanding the child mind, right? So we have all this stuff going in here. So think of it like this, right? We have society programs us. We have culture that programs us. We have our parents. We have our teachers that program us. We have events and experiences. And here's the thing, too, is that as a young little child, right, you could easily take the smallest experience and make some sort of crazy belief about it. Right? I never got a cookie after dinner, but my brother got a cookie, therefore I don't matter. And you could grow up to literally believe that. Like that's how easy it is to absorb a belief and to stick onto it where it becomes a part of you, right? That's how easy it could be. And this is why, again, too, guys, like you never want to put the blame of your situation on your parents or anyone else. Like your parents were doing the best with what they knew. And if not, like that's just the way it is. But the biggest way to change and heal is taking full ownership because you can't change something that's outside of yourself. Right? So truly, truly accepting that, hey, just because that happened to me and it might have been horrible or painful growing up and stuff, right? I'm not going to let that be my story for the rest of my life. I'm going to be the alchemist of my life. I'm going to turn my pain into my power. That's the way you really want to be. So think of it like this. So essentially, you are an open sponge, right? And then I think it's around the age of like 7 to 12, the last time I was doing my research. And then eventually you have this sense of yourself, right? So we'll just do a quick drawing. So now it's kind of like firm. So now you have this sense of yourself. So you now have the ego comes in and you have a sense of self and how you should function, show up, and act and be in this world. Okay. Now, here, fast forwarding to the present day. Okay, fast forward to the present day. Now, maybe you are stuck in a cycle where you constantly overwork and you're constantly feeling burnt out. Maybe you have super, super low confidence and you're always hating on your body and you just can't stand what you see in the mirror. Or maybe you're just a constant people pleaser and it causes you to not speak up, to not get the raises, to not make changes at your work. So you're just constantly suffering there. Or maybe you do have the major body insecurities about yourself or whatever it may be, right? Or lastly, you're a chronic worrier, right? All you can do is just worry about your children, about death, about bad things happening. And it causes you to try to control everything, which then in turn pushes people away in your life. I want you to understand this is that, yeah, this is quote unquote you, but it's not the full you. Okay. It's the programmed self. Think of it like that. All of this stuff, all of the things that we do, all of the reasons, all the suffer, whatever it may be, it's our programmed self. It is not the real, authentic you, which is exciting to think about. So it's your job, though, to heal this, right? The first step is becoming aware of this, realizing that these reasons why we do these things are all based off the programs that we learned growing up on how we think we should be and show up and do in this world, right? It's all just these programs that we've built. But let me tell you right now, anything that limits you, anything that constricts you, anything that causes you fear, except for unless you're running from a bear, for example, anything that makes you unhappy, stressed, sad, it's all coming from a limitation. Isn't that pretty crazy to think about? And I have much more trainings that you guys can dive into that there to learn about how that works. But all of that comes from a limitation. It all stems from a limiting belief or a fear that we've caught growing up that was programmed into us that now gets reproduced in our life over and over and over again. Let's say we grow up, for example, and our mom maybe neglected us, right? So we feel like we don't matter. And then that makes it so scary because the last thing that we want to do is be alone. So we grow up into this world with our kids and our family, and we tend to just control every single thing. We want to have so much control because that's how we think we're going to keep people in our lives so we don't end up being alone. And then we neglect ourselves because we don't matter. We're only focused on our kids. We're only focused on our job and our careers and all these other things because we don't matter, right? But then in your life, you're noticing your kids are running away from you. Your kids are not wanting to be around you. You're having conflict in your family. You're constantly stressed out and worried. You're so sad. You're struggling now with how you feel about yourself. That all was produced from that little child you who brought up that belief that they were not worthy, that they're unlovable, that whatever it may be. And now it's produced in your life now. But here's the thing is that that belief, that fear is not universally true. So that program, we can let that program go. And once we can get to the core rooted limiting belief or fear that's producing all of this, there will be no reason to continue to act out and be that way because the brain, the way that your brain was formed, right, is back here, right? You're more present, you're in the moment, you're learning about the world. But here, now, you're mostly living your life in your sub C. Okay. And the sub C is your subconscious mind, where 95% of your life is lived. And this is all in your subconscious mind, is where all of your habits, your traumas, your belief systems, your patterns, all this stuff lays in there. And that's why it's so hard for a lot of people to change because we're mostly honestly, we're mostly unaware of that 95%, right? Because it's all happening as a program. It's just automatic. So the brain conserves energy. And hey, this 95%, if I keep functioning, if I keep thinking, if I keep acting and feeling this way, at least I know I'm safe and secure. At least I know I'm going to survive. And that's that animal brain coming into play here, right? And that's that battle between the soul you is like, I want to feel better. I don't want to be a constant worrier. I want to be free. I want to love my family and the trust that everything's going to work out. But then that animal self that we've been living off this program through our entire lives, like, no, I can't. I can't let go because I'm so scared I'll be alone. And what if that does happen? And what if they leave me? And that's that animal self just trying to grip onto control. Then it affects your nervous system, right? Now you're in a sympathetic state nonstop because you're never feeling safe. Or the other way around is that your proper safety state is that constant worrying. That's your normal state of being. So we're always just stressed out, always rushing, always worrying, right? And it's reproducing our lives over and over and over and over again. Next thing you know, we can't think for ourselves. Our brains are cloudy. We're not clear, and we're just losing ourselves over and over and over again. That's kind of how it works there. Okay. So I forgot to add that in, but that's super important to mention is that all of these stuff as we're a young child, right? Eventually it forms. We have that sense of ourselves, our subconscious mind really start to take over. And then we're just kind of living our lives on airplane mode, like a program, basically. So again, and fast forward to today, it produces all this stuff that we don't like that keeps happening in our lives. We're wondering, what is wrong with me? Why am I the way I am? I'm broken. I can't change, right? And society pushes that as well, that victim mindset. And then we just get stuck. And I'm telling you right now is that you are so much 1,000 times more powerful than you can ever imagine. And I will never disempower you because I believe in the human being. I believe that you are a soul and so much more than you could imagine. You're part of this entire thing. So it's your job to heal this. Now that you recognize this, don't let the patterns keep going because think of it like this. Let's say your granddad or your grandma and they had these beliefs of life is hard. Success is for evil people, right? You can't be emotional. You have to be strong. You can't have emotions. You have to play it safe in life because life is hard and scary. And then your dad or your mom gets programmed that too, right? And let's say they do some of the healing though. So they're like, you know what? No, you can do it. Life is still hard, and I don't want you to really cry, and I do want you to play it safe, but you can do it. And success isn't for the evils. You can be successful. So your dad did the work. Your mom's doing some of the work, right? And they passed down these other limiting beliefs and programs that was passed down. Now the question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep allowing these programs to pass down to your children, to pass down to your children? Are you going to be the black sheep who makes the change? Today, I'm speaking to the black sheep. I'm speaking to the one who is taking control, the one who is willing to do the work, to do the healing, to transform yourself so everyone else who follows through you will transform as well. So, here's an example. Okay. Mom gave attention more to my sister growing up than me. And then we came out with the belief of the reason why is because I'm unlovable. And now the future you to this present day is I don't love myself and I don't deserve love. That's what they truly, truly believe. You might not be consciously aware of it because remember, that's in the subconscious mind. And here's another tip too. Is that your beliefs do not want to be recognized. Your limiting beliefs are there because your brain believes that, hey, this is the best thing for me, and it doesn't want to change, right? The number one, the ego doesn't like change because the ego likes to hold on to this identity, this sense of self. It loves to feed that story. But also the safety part of you as well doesn't want to change. It's like, no, let's keep everything the exact same because this is what's going to keep you alive, safe, and secure. But remember, the soul is like, no, I want to give myself an abundance, unconditional love, right? I deserve love. Love is my earth given right, right? So these are all these limitations that get pushed onto us. And then now in our future, now we have weight struggles because we neglect ourselves because we don't care about ourselves, right? Now we're sabotaging all the relationships in our lives because we don't deserve love. So when that someone treats us nice, it's like, this is not normal. This is not part of my programming. Get away. We unconsciously sabotage it. All right, or it's uncomfortable. We have unstable relationships in our lives. We neglect ourselves. We're sad. We become unhappy, right? Because we're not giving ourselves that love. So that's just how powerful this stuff truly, truly is here, guys. And the next thing here is, well, how do we heal them? How do we heal and rise above? How do we not let this program still play out over and over and over again? Well, I'm going to share with you a mix on neuroscience. We don't really need quantum physics here, but neuroscience and a little bit of spirituality here. So the first thing is ownership. Okay, you got to own it to change it. So take responsibility. No more victim mindset. No more blame and blaming. No more, putting on other people. Own it all. Own it all. Number two is awareness. Okay, observe, reflect, catch patterns, get and become a conscious creator of your life. Constantly reflect, constantly observe. An easy fast track to doing this is meditation because it helps you realize that you are not your thoughts. You're the one observing your thoughts, right? And then it helps, and you can grow the skill of practicing that, observing the thoughts and not allowing your thoughts to be something that you hold on to and run with. Number three is listing down what you want and what you don't want. Catch your patterns right now. Get very, very clear on it. Okay. Sad, work too much. I'm emotionally eating at nighttime. I'm trying to control my family. I'm always rushing. I'm never on time. Whatever it may be, things that you don't like about yourself. Write those down. And then you can go through my other YouTube trainings or you can work with me one to one or our community to learn how to rewire these patterns, rewire the limiting beliefs and the fears so you can let these go so you can get to where you want to go, your real, authentic, natural self. And then the fifth one, most important one that most of us forget is integration. You need to embody it, right? Because you've been living those past programs for so long. It's been so normalized. So it's like ingrained into you. Literally your body, your nervous system, yourself, like it's attuned to that way of being. So this is where you want to get your body on track, your mind on track, and your actions. Mind, meditation, really, really helpful. Being the observer of your life, random check-ins throughout the day to check in with yourself, make sure that you're present, not going back in the old programs. And then also simply being your own best friend. Set the new standard. No longer allow yourself to treat yourself any different than who you treat a stranger. So that means that you wouldn't go to a stranger and say, you're ugly, you look terrible. At least I hope not, right? So don't do it to yourself. Next thing is your body, is your nervous system. You got to get yourself into a safe state. And this is your proper breath work, taking care of your stress as well, proper sleep, all that stuff. But mostly really getting the breath work on track and getting yourself into a safe, stabilized state. And I promise you, as you continue to do these things and then you act upon the way that you want to be, eventually you're going to wake up one day and you will be there. You will be healed. You will rise above. You will feel so much better. And here's a spiritual mix to it. Okay, is that one idea behind all this, and this is one thing that I love about spirituality, is understanding the idea of that we are all one. I believe that separation, or sorry, a lot of our suffering comes from the idea of separation. I'm alone. I'm unworthy. I'm powerless. There's no meaning, right? And here's the thing though, if you look at reality and how it actually is, what is the things that separate us? It is time, space, and our individualism, right? Our souls, our own personal experiences. But if you took away time and space, every single thing is one, right? So we're on this plane where we are living in this reality, in this world, and we're consciously here. And there's this thing called time and space, and it separates us. So we have these personal experiences. But the spiritual idea behind this is that you are just a piece of focus of consciousness experiencing itself. So you have the soul, you're learning all these lessons, you're experiencing all these things in your life so you can expand and become more and more and more. But if you look at how consciousness works, how we are all one, if you took time and space away, everything's connected. And the same, I love it because it connects with the idea around energy, right? Every single thing is energy. And consciousness itself is just a whole new wonder. But that's an idea, and I never want to put things on you guys about this and change your ideas. But if this is something that resonates with you, it might be something to look more into. Is the idea of we are all one. Because I know for me, when I adopted this belief, like truly embodied this belief, it really helped me stop judging other people because and I want other people to win as best as possible and live the best lives possible because I look at other people as a reflection of myself. I want the best for you. I want the best for myself, right? So let's all win together. Just imagine how much it can change in this world if we truly adopted that belief, that knowing that we all are really one. No longer will you be alone. No longer will you judge yourself or other people. You'll accept things for the way they are more, right? Get back into that flow. Allow things to work out the way they do. You'll get your power back, right? You'll get your purpose back. So there's so much beauty around it. But that's a spiritual mix that I just want a little touch on. I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think about me adding that piece in. And that is the training for today, though, guys, on how your 7-year-old self is sabotaging your success and how you can change it moving forwards today. If you got some benefit off this training, please leave a like, a subscribe, comment whatever you think hit home the most. And again, I really, really appreciate you guys so much for watching these trainings, for being here with me. And I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.